As amazing as it is that Barcelona is relying on their academy products and providing a pathway into the first team for them, these youngsters are also a symptom of something else going on in Barcelona. Something dark. Barcelona relying on their academy products isn't a strange thing. The legendary Barcelona coach, who could be argued to have kick-started Barcelona's rise, was big on the academy, La Masia, for this exact purpose. Cruyff built Barcelona's golden generation with both Spanish and foreign players. He also integrated one of the first graduates of La Masia, Pep Guardiola, into the team. He then led Barcelona to their first Champions League in 1992 after helping them win the now abolished UEFA Cup Winners' Cup in 1989 with his first season with them. In the 8 years he spent with them, Cruyff would lead Barcelona to rampage, winning 11 trophies before he eventually fell out with Barcelona's president at the time, Josep Luis Núñez. Barcelona continued to record some success in the league, but it would be in 2006 under Frank Rijkaard where Barcelona would win their next European trophy. However, the man that would truly make Barcelona a team to be feared, both home and abroad, was La Masia graduate Pep Guardiola. He rejoined the club as manager in 2008, and Joan Laporte took a gamble on him, despite Guardiola's coaching experience being strictly from Barcelona's reserves. However, he was about to make a name for himself in the world of management. Under Guardiola, the players gained prominence, starting with Xavi, who wanted to leave Barcelona, with Bayern Munich leading the pursuit and rumours of Sir Alex Ferguson wanting him for Manchester United. Guardiola convinced Xavi to stay, with Messi and Iniesta also being a large part of his plans. However, players like Ronaldinho and Deco had to go. Barcelona didn't miss them, and instead went on a rampage in Europe and domestically. By Guardiola's fourth year, Barcelona had won 14 trophies, which included La Liga and the Champions League in the 2010-11 season. This success didn't stop Guardiola from resigning in 2012 after criticisms over his recent tactics and squad selections intensified. Guardiola leaving didn't stop Barcelona from continuing to succeed. Guardiola's successor, Tito Vilanova, his assistant since his days as the manager of Barcelona B, took over and it was business as usual. Well, almost. They won La Liga with 100 points with Messi's record breathtaking year. He scored 91 goals in a calendar year. And, if you're interested in this, check out our video here on this amazing feat. However, Barca did get eliminated from the Copa del Rey in the semi-finals by Real Madrid. Bayern also beat them in the Champions League too. Unfortunately, Tito developed throat cancer and eventually resigned in 2013. Barcelona then managed to sign Neymar in 2013, which was the beginning of a series of events which would lead to Barcelona's downfall. Legendary Spanish goalkeeper Andoni Zubi Zubizarreta, who served as sporting director when Bartomeu became president, helped sign Neymar and Luis Suarez, who formed with Messi to become the fabled trio MSN, who are arguably the greatest front three ever. The trio produced incredible moments of immense quality, but Zubi, who helped create them, was then sacked by Bartomeu. This decision would come to haunt Barcelona. The club also appointed Luis Enrique. Under Enrique, Barcelona looked like they did under Pep, winning their matches in the most emphatic manner and destroying teams with ruthless effectiveness. Enrique ended his first season with Barcelona by leading them to winning the treble in 2014-15. They beat the champions of Germany, England, Italy and France on their way to lifting a fifth Champions League title and were brutal in the league. With that treble, Bartomeu had the support of club members and won a landslide victory in Barca's presidential elections. The MSN trio would also enjoy another round of success. They won the La Liga, the Copa del Rey and the Spanish Super Cup, but fell short in the Champions League. They also fell short in the next year's Champions League, even after that stunning comeback against Paris Saint-Germain in the round of 16, known as La Remontada. Neymar was in the heart of things in that match, but the glory went to Messi. This led to Neymar deciding he wanted to leave Barcelona and join a team where he would truly be seen. PSG came along and snapped Neymar up for a whopping 220 million euros. And just like that, Barcelona were rich. And their troubles began. This is the transfer that changed football forever regarding player prices. How is it that after this transfer, one of the world's largest financial institutions are where they are today? Bartomeu had formed a habit of hiring and firing sport directors. So when they wanted to replace Neymar, he was offered the services of Mbappe by his Spanish agent Junior Minguella, but Bartomeu said no. Well, to be fair, Barcelona's coach at the time wasn't on board. So Barca set their sights on Ousmane Dembele instead. And a few weeks after Neymar left, Bartomeu, who was relatively new to the football business, and another Barcelona official flew to negotiate with Borussia Dortmund for Dembele. Well, it wasn't really a negotiation. Bartomeu, who had planned not to spend more than 80 million euros for Dembele, left the negotiations committing to pay 105 million upfront plus 42 million extra euros in easily obtainable performance bonuses. But Bartomeu wasn't done. There was also one other player that needed replacing, and that was Iniesta. Very tricky. So Barcelona began to make moves to sign Philippe Coutinho, but they failed to do so in the summer, but succeeded eventually in the January transfer window and committed to paying a 160 million euro transfer fee, which included add-ons. Now, at the time, these transfers looked pretty good pieces of business. These two players were incredibly skilled, but there was a problem. Paying so high for just two players didn't allow Barcelona to strengthen their team elsewhere, notably their defence. Piqué was getting older, while Longley and Semedo hadn't truly shown they deserved their spots in the team. Still, Barcelona won La Liga and the Copa del Rey in the 2017-18 season, so everything looked good. Also, by the end of that season, the club dropped their financial report for the 2017-18 season, which revealed they had made revenue of $1.05 billion. That financial performance crowned FC Barcelona as the first sports club in the world to surpass the $1 billion mark in revenue. And this made what happened next all the more surprising. By the 2018-19 season, Barcelona began to crack, and it began with those two signings. It turned out they weren't really up to the level that Bartomeu had projected they would be. Dembele dealt with several injury issues, and Coutinho wasn't able to string any form of consistency. What was meant to be Bartomeu and Barcelona's show of strength had become their signs of their weaknesses. It didn't help that Suarez was not looking as sharp, and with the signings not clicking, Messi had more responsibilities in terms of carrying the team. Something had to be done. So in the January 2019 season, Barcelona sacked Ernesto Valverde, who didn't play the possession game that Barca were known for, to bring in Quique Setién, who has never won a major trophy as manager. Lionel Messi was getting consumed, and in the 2019-20 season, he cracked after Bayern crushed Barcelona in a one-legged Champions League match. Barcelona fans 8-2 remember this event, as it led to the end of the MSN. Suarez was told he wasn't needed at the club with a phone call, and now Barcelona were fully in trouble. Their players took a 70% pay cut during the pandemic, and the finances were atrocious. Barcelona needed to act quickly, and they did some financial engineering to balance the books by doing a swap deal with Juventus. Barcelona let Arthur move to Juventus, and Miralem Pjanic came from Juventus. It was messy, and already Barcelona had an aging squad. Messi was finally frustrated and wanted to leave, but Barcelona said the only way he could do so was for a team to trigger his release clause. So Messi stayed, and Bartomeu, who had been in a deep conflict with the Argentine maestro, resigned in 2020. Laporta returned in 2021 and promised to keep Messi around, but he failed in this promise as Barcelona's finances were so bad that they couldn't afford to keep Messi even if he played for free. This is the epitome of Barca's wage structure issues that are present even today. The example of this is Ilkay Gundogan, who was one of the club's best players since he joined and has just been allowed to leave to continue to reduce the wage bill. The troubles didn't end with Messi leaving. Barcelona had a wage cap, which meant they couldn't register the players they'd signed unless another agreed to a wage cut. The problem was that they were unable to sell, and so Piqué had to take the cut for the sake of the team. But this only helped a bit, and Barcelona had to let Griezmann go too. At this point, Barca were failing both in the League and the Champions League, and by December, they decided to sack their coach, with Xavi coming on board to try and create a fairy tale ending. But things didn't immediately turn around as Barcelona crashed into the Europa League. Now they had to rely on La Masia graduate Gavi and Pedri, who they'd bought from Las Palmas in 2019. Those boys played so much in the 21-22 season that they soon developed injury problems of their own. Unfortunately, by 2022, things had gone from bad to worse, and Barcelona had to now find drastic solutions to the financial problem. Barca began to sell their TV rights and tried to get De Jong to leave. They even threatened to take him to court. The club sold more of their rights so they could register their signings, and they got their reward in the 22-23 season after winning La Liga. Then, in the 23-24 season, the club had to massively rely on Lamine Yamal, who was only 16 years old, and had to play him throughout a lot of the season. It's not exactly the correct approach with a youngster, but the problem is, who plays if he doesn't? Due to their inability to spend, Xavi and the club had begun to run into conflicts. Xavi criticised the club's finances and declared he was leaving. The club managed to get him to stay, only to dismiss him later at the end of the season and hire Hansi Flick. Flick has barely begun his tenure at Barcelona, and already he has had to deal with a key signing, Dani Olmo, being unable to play due to Barcelona's initial inability to register him. Fortunately, Barcelona have finally managed to do so, but the question is, when will it end? As of the time of this recording, Barca are still struggling to register players. However, if anyone will help lead Barcelona to glory, Flick certainly could do it. He led Bayern Munich to a dominant 1920 season where they won the treble. So, will Flick be able to replicate his Bayern success with Barcelona?